The grid for race number 2 here for the ModSports at Knockhill would have seen Ron coming on pole, but unfortunately not making the start. Alongside him, Roddy Patterson, Mark Dawson and Natalie Cowie on row number 2, Adam Morrison and Stephen Somerville row 3. Row 4 is Andy Patterson and Cian Shields, with Scott Armstrong and Louise Strachan 9 and 10th. The 6th row has Neil Broom and Cameron Chalmers, with Murray Douglas and Cameron Bryden in his first ever race event on the back of the grid. Welcome to the KMSC ModSports for their second race at the first event, with PV Extinguishers, White Line, Bridge of Dawn Trailers and Toyo Tyres all supporting the series. The cars are on the grid and the front row has Roddy Patterson and Mark Dawson. Lights starting to come on the gantry, reverse direction here at Knockhill. Who's going to get the jump? Dawson's been quick all the way through this, but Roddy Patterson gets the initial jump off the line and will power ahead down towards the hairpin in his Caterham C400. His A-class car will lead as he comes in towards the hairpin for the first time of asking. Then we get Mark Dawson coming through. Then we just have to hope that everybody else gets through in one piece. Adam Morrison, former Superlap Scotland King of the Hill, up there in third place just now. And a bit of a depleted field just now after the first race of the day. But the ModSports still giving us a great showing here at Knockhill Racing Circuit. Reverse direction down towards the chicane comes Roddy Patterson. That Caterham, an extremely fast car, and Roddy, a seasoned veteran, a man who's been racing a long time up and down the country. And it's great to see him bring his Caterham back and thrill the crowds here at a Superlap Scotland event in the ModSports. Going through 7.72 is Neil Broom, a man who we know from Formula Ford fame in Scotland here. Neil trying his hand in a Mini Cooper now to see a different direction, and quite a few Mini Coopers in this race as well. One Cooper S which isn't here belongs to James Strachan. Well, technically the car is, because that's the James Strachan car on the inside there that Scott Armstrong has just gone round the outside of. Louise blew her Mini up on the Friday test day, Louise Strachan, so Dad James decided that he would step aside and Louise could use his car. So Louise Strachan putting the number 20 Mini Cooper S very much through its paces today as we go on board with Scott Armstrong here. Some great viewing from the Strong Brew raceman. Down the back straight through Clark's. This is a chicane ahead of us now. Blind entry on the way in, and you just have to hope you hit your marks, because you come over the crest of the hill, your stomach hits the roof. Before you know it, you're climbing back through Butchers, hitting the brake pedal for McIntyre's. It really does happen that quick in a car around Knockhill reverse direction. A little bit of corrective oversteer on the exit of the corner, and we listen to the little Mini absolutely flat through the top of Duffus here, foot to the floor, trying to push it as hard as he possibly can. As he goes, you can see in the mirror Louise Strachan with the Cooper S, just a little bit more power. So this is going to be a duel which is going to go all the way towards the end. Up the inside on the brakes comes Armstrong. So Strachan quicker on a straight, and Armstrong a little bit more braver on the brakes, it would appear, or can brake a little bit later in the standard Cooper. Behind them we've got Cian Shields in the BMW. Now Cian Shields, a GB3 racer, here to collect some signatures this weekend, and doing it with a massive smile on his face. And driver coach is Dean McDonald. So Dean McDonald here in the stands as well, giving Cian those little bits of advice which he definitely needs on his way to GB3 fame. But great to have Cian with us this weekend, as once again we're on board with Armstrong as we bounce our way through the apex of McIntyre's. And keep your eye on that mirror, that rearview mirror. You can see the little black dot, that's Louise. As they come over the crest of the hill, Louise a little bit wider than she would want to be there. But let's see if the Cooper S has a whole heap more speed. Murray Douglas, number 96, the next car in line. In towards the hairpin we come. Will Louise look up the inside? No, Armstrong doesn't need to defend the position this time. And through the hairpin they go. Meanwhile, at the front, remember, it's still 51 Roddy Patterson in the Caterham, leading the way, the A-class Caterham. Second place is 24 Mark Dawson in his Honda Civic Type R. Mark racing in G-class, Class G. Mark steps up from Superlap Scotland from last year, where he had his first year in that, enjoyed it immensely, and decided that he wanted to go racing, circuit racing. He'd seen what Sean Martin had done previously. Sean Martin, the ModSports champion from last year, not with us at this round, but is threatening to be back for later rounds through the course of the year. As we once again This is a great shot, this, as we come over the crest of Duffy's Dip, and it looks like Armstrong's just putting enough distance into Louise Strachan each time they get onto the straight, but Louise driving the wheels of it through the back of the circuit. And here comes Cian Shields down the inside of Louise Strachan. Louise Strachan catching all the time on the brakes on Armstrong. So they all seem to get together at the hairpin, and then over the course of the lap they kind of separate and stretch back out. There goes Murray Douglas through the shot as well. And Adam Morrison, we should say, is in third place. We've got the top two. We gave you Roddy Patterson, Mark Dawson and Adam Morrison, 86th, the man who is in third place. There goes Louise Strachan up the inside as they go towards Clark Corner. Just gives Armstrong enough room. Armstrong knows that that's not the place to be fighting back too much. Louise gives him plenty room on the inside, or the exit of the corner there. Where's Cian Shields? Cian Shields can't be far away. We can see him dancing about in the mirror as Louise comes through the chicane. These cars all together, and this battle has now let Murray Douglas come very much back in towards it. So Big Muzz will have a huge smile on his face as they come through McIntyre's. And one thing we know, Armstrong is going to struggle to pass Strachan in a straight here. Cian Shields decides that he fancies trying a sausage curb through the top of Duffus and throws the BMW into two wheels. He's got a little bit more power in that BMW than Scott Armstrong has in the Mini as they come down towards the hairpin here. Big lock up on the brakes for Cian Shields as he manages to just get through the corner, and away he goes, holds that position. And Murray Douglas now up the inside, and here goes Murray in number 96 passing Scott Armstrong. So that's not been the best lap of the race for Scott Armstrong, but there's still plenty to do in that number 771 car. I think as long as he beats Neil Broom, his teammate, he will go home happy, and Broom will possibly be buying the drinks at the bar. Roddy Patterson is now going to try and come through and pass all these guys who are all having a pretty heated battle, and you can see Roddy at the top of the screen just deciding to hang back through the twisty part as Armstrong gives him a face full of dust. Lots of lockups now from Cian Shields. That BMW starting to lock that light wheel at the front of the BMW into these corners just shows you how hard young Cian Shields is actually pushing in the BMW Compact in Class G. Gets on the straight, and Roddy Patterson decides he'll pass everybody in the safest area. There goes Mark Dawson through shot there. Murray Douglas. And as we look towards the hairpin, Mark Dawson's going to have to pass these two cars. It's Louise Strachan and Cian Shields. He gets past one. Will Louise give him enough room? Yes, she does. Louise makes that nice and easy as they go through the hairpin there. But what she's done is she's now left herself vulnerable for the Cian Shields attack. And here comes Cian alongside as they go through. Cian just gets his BMW and wipes the nose off Louise's Mini Cooper S as they go through Hislops towards Clark Corner. That was Stephen Somerville who we saw just dashing through shot there, and we haven't mentioned Stephen through the whole race. Car number 217 in his BMW Compact. He is in Class H, is Stephen. And yeah, he's had a very quiet race, but he has been up there at the front, just off the back of Adam Morrison. And Stephen, who travels down from Aberdeen for every event. Great to have him at round one. I'm looking forward to having him back on the 4th and 5th of June for the double header weekend, which goes clockwise direction the full weekend. So be interesting to see how the ModSports get on with that. A lot of driving going clockwise direction as we see Shields bouncing over those curbs, going through the chicane butchers area again. A little lock up from that front inside wheel. The BMW does tend to lock up that as it turns into corner. The wheel becomes light, and the braking force that Cian's putting through that pedal just snatches that front wheel. And he's now got Louise Strachan, and this is a great showing from young Louise, very new to the racing. Done a bit of rallying before this, but Louise Strachan in towards the hairpin, number 20 there in Dad James's car, and round the outside of Cian Shields. So Cian maybe a little bit more protective on the inside than he wanted to be there, or is he just wanting to follow Louise round the back of the circuit for another couple of laps? As we see coming through the top of Duffus, a man who hasn't featured too much on screen because it's his final lap he's on now, and up towards the checkered flag comes Roddy Patterson. The man, the myth, the legend, Roddy Patterson takes yet another victory from 24 Mark Dawson in second place, and Adam Morrison will take a fabulous third place overall on the road. Ahead of Stephen Somerville, Louise Strachan does get the better of Cian Shields, Murray Douglas, Scott Armstrong, Neil Broom, and Cameron Bryden, who is the youngest ever ModSport driver and son of Paul Bryden. Cameron in his BMW 1 Series We'll look forward to seeing how his season progresses throughout the course of the year. And after that ModSports race, the results are in. It's a win for Roddy Patterson and second place for Mark Dawson. Adam Morrison rounds out the top 3 overall on the road in his Mini Cooper. Stephen Somerville is 4th place in his BMW, with a great result for Louise Strachan to get herself inside the top 5. GB3 frontrunner Cian Shields in his BMW Compact will be happy with 6th, ahead of newcomer Murray Douglas, Scott Armstrong, Neil Broom and Cameron Bryden.